She is a musician, Grammy-nominated. She has worked with the likes of Beyoncé and beyond. Please welcome Divinity Roxx.
Those are all the stories, and now I have to go, right? So when I told my high school counselor that I'd only applied to 2 colleges in California, she looked at me like I was crazy. I was a senior in high school in Atlanta, and after hearing about the University of California at Berkeley from a good friend of mine's older brother, I decided that was the school I was going to. He said it was wild. He said it was a naked dude walking around, and women could hold hands. Now, I knew in high school that I was gay and that I couldn't be gay in Atlanta. However, I figured I could go all the way to California and be as free as I could be. And that's exactly what I did. Now, I got out to California, but I was leaving another part of me behind. I had a rap group that I started in high school called DATBU, D-A-T-B-U. Divinity and the Breakfast Unit. The Breakfast Unit, yeah, they were a group of dancers with names like Cheesy Feets, Cornbread Lover, Prince Lover. So we formed this rap group and we had become really pretty popular in high school and things were going well for us, but I was not gonna be a rapper. My mom and dad had done so much for me to have an education and believe in education that ever since elementary school, I knew I was gonna go to college. So I was trying to get as far away from home as possible. I applied to Berkeley and Stanford. I got a rejection letter from Stanford, but I got into Berkeley. Yeah. I get out there and I figured I was gonna be a journalist because that would support my love for writing. And I also enrolled into a Poetry for the People class. Poetry for the People was taught by the late, great June Jordan. How many of you know June? June is actually from New York City. She was the first person to say in front of the UN, "We are the ones we've been waiting for." Yes, first person. So I got into her class and I became one of her student teacher poets. But doing this creative writing really reinvigorated my need to rap. So I found other rappers and artists around campus and we would have freestyle sessions with the other rappers who had decided to go to college instead of rapping, right? I also met a whole group of musicians. I met this upright bass player on the bus one day. He and I happened to be going to the same house. Very strange. So I met him and we started hanging out. He introduced me to all the musicians at Berkeley and we started having parties. I was hosting freestyle parties. I was becoming pretty popular and really confident in my raps. And we decided to go into the studio. But while we were in the studio, nobody would listen to my musical ideas because they said I was just a rapper and I wasn't a musician. So I say to him, later on we're hanging out, I say, "Hey man, I'm thinking about playing the guitar." He goes, "Nah, you're a bass player. You walk like a bass player, you talk like a bass player. You should get a bass." So I was like, okay. The next summer I went home, I bought a bass guitar and an amp, I brought it back to school and I fell in love. I started listening to the music in Atlanta that was blowing up at the time. Outkast was becoming pretty popular, Goody Mob, and they had some great bass lines. So I would just sit at home every day after school and play the bass. After my second year in college, things started getting a little crazy. I didn't have a lot of money. I had taken out a lot of student loans and I was missing this Atlanta music scene. It was blowing up and I was on the other side of the country. So I called my parents and I say, "Hey, I'm thinking about taking a year off of school." My dad was livid. He was not happy at all. But my mom, she was like, yeah, follow your dreams. She used to say, "Shoot for the stars, you may land on the moon." So I took my mom's side of things and I moved into the house with my dad because they had split up. So I moved in the house with my dad with this bass guitar and I'd be sitting there playing all these songs and he'd be looking at me growling and frowning, because what I was playing didn't sound like the songs I was trying to play, right? Eventually, I taught myself how to rap and play and I started playing around town. I became really popular as this bass player in Atlanta. And I heard about this camp from an artist by the name of Mr. Victor Wooten. Victor Wooten was one of the greatest bass players in the world. I had to go to the camp. I applied to the camp, I got in. First night of camp, we have to introduce ourselves by playing the bass. So I asked Victor, well, can I rap and play the bass? He said, is that what you do? I said, yeah, that's what I do. I said, well, do what you do. So I stand up in front of this audience, heart racing, beating. I'm scared out of my mind. And I start playing this bass line. Boom, 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 boom. I go, yo, it's the D-I, the V-I, the N-I, the T-Y. You want to be I, baby, you can't see I. Boom, 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 Now everybody say, ow, ow. The crowd goes, ow. And everybody cheers. And I'm thinking, wow, that was pretty cool. 2 months after the camp, Victor calls me on the phone and asks me if I had more songs like that. I said, yeah, man, I got a lot of songs like that. I had one song. That was it. Say yes, right? You know? So he asked me if I wanted to tour with him. I was like, yeah, of course I want to go on tour with you. And when I hung up the phone, I was like, man, I got to write some more songs. So I sat down, I wrote some songs that I could play on this tour. And I started making my own music on his tours. He let me do my thing. He let me play my songs on his tour. He let me jump out on stage and freestyle whenever I wanted to. I went home, I started writing albums, and I wrote my first children's music song. It was called I Can Be Anything. Now, when I was a little girl, my mom used to wake us up in the morning and scream at us that we could be anything in the world we wanted to be. This was how she loved us. She delivered it like an angry Baptist minister. Seriously, you can be anything in the world you want to be if you put your mind to it. And she had a sermon every morning. So I had hooked up with this record label here in New York City called Roxx, and they wanted to create a children's label. And they had been soliciting artists, and they thought that I would be a good fit. So I wrote this song called I Can Be Anything, You Can Be Anything. Girls and boys can do anything. Anything, 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 anything. So much fun. I had my little 5-year-old nephew and niece get on the song, and we rapped to each other back and forth. It was so cool. And I started thinking, wow, kids music. I never thought about it before. This could be kind of cool. It was fun. Well, the label folded. Somebody stole my song. Oh. We won't get into that. And I forgot about the kids' music thing. As a matter of fact, what I said was, you know what? When I get older, I'm going to write kids' music. That's going to be what I do. I'm going to write kids' music. I'm going to write kids' books when I get older. So fast forward, I'm putting out my music. I'm doing my thing. I'm in the streets. I'm playing the bass and rapping, making rock music and pop music. And then one day, I hear that Beyoncé is looking for musicians for her all-female band. Now, I was not interested in the Beyoncé gig at all. My friends, they convinced me that I should go to this audition despite my resistance. And I got the gig. I get the gig and I travel all around the world with Beyoncé as her bass player and musical director for 5 years. I played on her Grammy-nominated Me, Myself, and I album. Yes. It was incredible. But there was a part of me that was still missing my artistry once she took a break. So I moved to LA and I kept writing my rock and hip hop music, doing my thing. I was touring with different artists and putting out records. And during the pandemic, something strange happened. All the gigs on the calendar disappeared. Wiped out. And I didn't know what I was going to do, so I decided I was just going to start working on my next project. A friend of mine called me and said, hey, do you have any kids' music you've been working on? I said, well, a little something here and there, little beats that I've been making throughout the years. He said, yeah, so this company is looking for music for this pre-K program. If you have something you can share with me, I'd love to take it to them. So I was like, okay, well, what kind of stuff are you looking for? He gave me some themes, and I wrote about 5 songs. He needed 7 songs. I wrote 5 songs. Sent it to him. He said, man, I love these songs. I'm going to share them with Scholastic. He shared the songs with Scholastic. They loved the songs, and they wanted each one of those songs for this pre-K program. And then later on, I found out they wanted to turn 2 of the songs into fully illustrated books. Now, I'm like, what? I guess my older self is now. what's crazy is that I had these 2 books coming out and these songs that were a part of this Scholastic program, and I started thinking, well, if I'm gonna have 2 books coming out, I should probably make a whole album. Yeah, of course. So I started working on this kids' music album. It was called Ready, Set, Go. The song Ready, Set, Go was inspired by my mom's morning sermons. It's all about being prepared and being your best self and getting ready to have the best day ever, basically. I self-released this project because, like you, I'm always thinking that we should own our intellectual property. I am the descendant of people who were in bondage. People owned them. They owned everything that they did, what they thought, their children, everything. I always felt like it was time to own myself and my own ideas. I've been self-releasing the music for years, but I self-released this Ready, Set, Go album. And lo and behold, it was nominated for a Grammy. My older self is here now. It's crazy because I never really thought that making music for children would be what I would pivot into doing. Now I'm doing concerts where little kids are jumping up and down and screaming my name. I just did a concert recently, and after the show, I usually sign autographs and take pictures. This little girl wrapped her whole body around my leg and would not let go. Now, I didn't know what to do. Her dad is standing there and he's trying to convince her, we should go, honey, we should go. And she's like, no, I'm never leaving you. I love you. I want to take you home with me. I'm like, oh my God. It's crazy. I'm getting those emails. I'm getting those messages, those video messages from people about how this music is inspiring them, empowering them, that somebody like me is not just a reflection. I'm also a window into which people who don't look like me can see what the other side lives like, looks like, loves like. And it's okay because we're all human. We all smile, we all laugh, we all have the same emotions. We get scared, we believe. So I'm gonna leave it at that. We believe.
Yes. Thank you, Divinity.